There we go. If you have a laptop, you want to maximize your space or get a second monitor, which is always helpful. So I put this in one row, and you can even make this even smaller so you have more space to work with. If that makes you uncomfortable, then pull it out bigger so you can see what it says. Now, if there's something on here that's not on here that you want, like I would say, I use actions, but I don't think I'm going to put you through that just yet. Adjustments, yes, let's put adjustments in there. So we'll add that over here. See how the blue line pops up?
Mm-hmm.
I thought I got rid of this thing. I don't watch libraries. When it comes back, it's like a bad penny. What is that they say? A bad penny. Characters. If you do anything with type, you're going to want to have characters. So let's go ahead and put that on there. That's a good thing to have. Characters is your type setting and your paragraph settings. You can see that stuff up in here too when you change tools. But I'll show you that in a second. Let's just look down at what else we got here. We've got color out. Glyphs is for typesetting. Don't really need that. Histogram, you don't need that right now. History, you have. That's your undo, basically. Info, you don't really need that yet. That tells you how big things are. Well, maybe it's a good thing to have. Let's go ahead and open that up. It'll tell you what color you're on, and it'll tell you where your cursor is in the X and Y and how big something is, width and height. If I'm saying anything that you don't understand, please ask. I will tell you what it means.
Okay.
We got paragraphs, we got paths, properties. That's probably good. All right. So say we've got everything that we like. We'll put these over here. We're going to make this into a single tile height, so it takes up less room. Over here with your tools, if it goes off the bottom like this and you want to be able to see it, you can actually break this into two lines. If you double click on the top of it, now you've got your tools in two rows, so you can see them all. And that's the expanded tooltips.
Mm-hmm.
They come out really big, and they show you a little video of how it works, and you can go there, and if you want, you can get more information. If these become a problem, you know where to turn them off now.
Yeah.
Okay. I think they're a little bit obnoxious, but that's just me. Okay, so Photoshop basics. This is the menu bar.
Mm-hmm.
This is called the option bar. These, of course, are all your tools, which I'll go through. And then these are your panels or palettes. So now that we've got this kind of set up the way we like it, we can actually save this workspace as your own custom workspace. So we'll go to New Workspace, and you can call it Mine. And this will save all your keyboard shortcuts, all your menus, and your toolbars. Everything that you've got set up the way you like it will always be remembered.
Okay.
So if you accidentally do something terrible, like you got rid of color by accident, or you totally screwed something up, and you can't, and everything's all messed up, and it's all over the place, and it just becomes a big nightmare mess, and you've got this thing's open and that thing's open, and you're just like, I can't take it anymore. Then you go over here to your window workspace, and you say reset. Boink, all back together. It's a very nice little tool. I think this is workspaces too. Yep, it looks different on my computer, but this will let you choose. So say you want to do animation today, so maybe you change it to the motion one. And then you say, I don't want to do that today. I'm going to go back to my own personal one like this. And you can have your own setup, several setups, and save them all individually so that you have your tools all set up ready for you the way you like it. Okay, so let's just, do you have something scanned already?
I do from yesterday.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and open that? You do it, and I'll watch.
Okay. I'm slow, sorry.
No, it's okay. You're doing it the right way, though. I like the fact that you're searching through the sidebar and going in that way.
Yeah, sometimes it takes me a minute. So much stuff from my last class, and I'm trying to remember.
It's important to I make folders for each of my classes and put them in a folder of classes.
I should have. What would you say?
And the more classes you do, the
Well,
see, now this is something weird about the PC that I find annoying. That maybe I think you can change it, but it automatically shows you the last few things you used at the top. So the order always changes. So it's like you can't ever find anything because the order keeps changing. That's what I find. So these are scanned documents. It's got to be one of these guys, right? Intro?
Yeah, I had trouble though. When I pulled up one of these right here and tried to upload it, it wouldn't let me.
Weren't you having problems with this one? Because it had a JPEG. Let's open that and see what happens. You've got a double extension there.
It would let me see.
Yep.
See it.
Yep, I see that. Okay, so let's do this. This is your file thingy, right?
Okay.
Oh my God, I've got two of them. I don't mean to do that. Okay.
No, I did it at the same time. That's why. Sorry, I didn't realize you were doing it.
No, it's okay. It's hard when I'm doing it too. So before you do anything else, let's do this. It's got a bad marker, which sometimes means that if you right-click on it, you should get a variety of options, and one of them is rename.
Okay.
And I'm going to delete that.
Okay.
Yes, I want to change it. And let's see if that makes it, fixes it. Can't open this file. Okay, fair enough. You can well, these are let's see what this one says. Open. Oh, for crying out loud. Always use this app to open PSD files, of course. What do you think we are, idiots? All right. So is that
my horrible not looking hand?
That is the way it's supposed to look. That's exactly right. Yes, it's exactly right. This is the way it's supposed to look. It's awesome. I'm so glad. You did it just right. You didn't look at the paper hardly at all, right?
I didn't at all, unless I had to see where I was, and then I did not draw looking at it at all.
Good. You did. I love you.
Okay.
That's awesome. That's exactly the way it's supposed to look. Okay. So to get this saved properly for your submission.
How are you moving it?
I click and drag. I click and hold.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Click and drag. Let me try for a second.
Okay.
Because I'm a hands-on person. I have to.
You've got to grab it in the gray bar, in the title bar.
In the gray bar.
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so the basics are here. You grab it, you can drag it and move it like this.
It has to be the gray bar. Okay.
Yes, at the top. And then if you want to resize it, you get that funny arrow and you can pull it larger or smaller.
Okay.
When you see, your cursor will give you a lot of clues as to what you can do, and especially in Photoshop. So once you put your cursor over something, come on, go away, let go. There. Then it will change depending on what options you have. All right, so what I always have on up here is the ruler, which is Control-R, but let's turn it on through the menu here. See, this will tell you what the hotkey is. Hotkeys are really useful for speeding up your workflow, basically. So I recommend them, learning the hotkeys. So turn on, come on. Go ahead and click, it doesn't like me. Now you've got a ruler up here. And it's showing you that this is 600 pixels by probably 8. 800 or 750 or whatever. If you want to go back to inches for any reason, all you have to do is right-click on the ruler, and it gives you the option to change it. So you could go back to inches for a minute to see, oh, it's 8.5 by 11, but it is only 72 dpi, so that's why it's only 300 pixels. So let's just check that first, just so you know where to check it. There are hotkeys, of course, for this. This is image size, Alt-Control-I gives you this dialog box, which shows you.
That's what that's the way I'm used to doing it. It still confuses me, but that's the way I did it before.
Okay, so this shows you inches, but it also shows you pixels. And if you want to change pixels, then change this to pixels.
Okay.
Then it gives you your pixels. It's 71 dpi. That's sort of weird. It doesn't really matter all that much, but sometimes when you scan stuff, it comes in at 300 dpi or 150 dpi. If you have this unclicked, it will make it change shape, and you don't want to do that. So you want to make sure this is on. This is always. So that's pretty good. So 600 by 700. Now
show me what you asked for, like the particular pixels and dots, like the
Well, it really should be 72. I don't know why it's 71.
That's what I thought.
But it doesn't.
That's what I thought.
It's not that far off. I'm not going to ping you for that. It's only bad if it's like 300. Because if I change this to 300 dpi, look at the size of the file. It goes up to 24 megabytes.
Right. Okay.
And you don't want to do that. So we'll go back to 72. So if it comes in when you scan it, sometimes you can scan it at 72, but I think it's better to scan it at a higher resolution. It just looks better. Let's see what this is about. What is this about here? Scale styles. Okay, that's fine. So just as long as it's under 1,000 pixels and it's 72 dpi, resampling is automatic. That's fine. Say okay. You made it slightly bigger, but not enough to write home about. It's pretty pale. Is your drawing pretty pale?
Okay.
Is your original drawing pale?
It might.
Or is it darker than this?
I think I just didn't push very hard.
Okay, that's fine. There are things you can do to darken up your drawing that are legal. Let's just say that.
Okay.
So that would be adjustments here. You can actually do, I hate these icons because I never use the icons. But we'll go ahead and do that. You could probably use brightness and contrast and just increase the contrast a bit. Come on. See if that helps. Well, that's not helping now that much. All right, maybe that's not going to work. Let me look. I probably made a layer when I did that. Yep. Okay, so here we've made a layer, which is fine, because if you use the adjustments, instead of actually adjusting the actual artwork, then you don't damage the artwork. So we can always throw that away if we don't like it. So I'm going to try a different adjustment. That's this one here. Same thing as this. So add an adjustment layer. Come on. I'm going to use levels. Levels works better, but it's a little more complicated. So levels shows you, this is a histogram, which shows you where all the pixels are. And you see it's a very pale drawing, so all the pixels are scrunched up at the high end. You can pull this from the bottom, and it is making it a little darker because it's concentrated.
Oh, wow.
Pixels. So you don't want to go too far with that because you're removing data whenever you do these kinds of adjustments, you are taking data away and you can't put the data back. So, but it does allow you to have a little more flexibility with the quality of the image because you can move this thing up and down and change the density. So this brings up the dark, this brings down the light, and this moves it in the middle. So maybe that's a better representation of your drawing for digital purposes.
Right.
Because now we can see it better. Oh, so you're happy with that. Okay, that's cool. Then close that. And the other thing I would do is crop this so that you don't have all this empty white space. Because if your image is...
I don't know how to crop.
Okay, so this is the crop tool. Do you know the tools very well? Oh God, I'm gonna have to turn that off. That's making me crazy.
Turn it off. Turn it off. That's fine. When I said I liked that, I meant I liked my tools side by side.
Oh, okay. I just don't like this dang thing.
Yeah, that's fine.
Like, makes me crazy. Tooltips. Where was that? Oh, here probably. Yeah, rich tooltips. We don't need that. Okay. So this is the move tool, and this will move whatever you select or whatever you have on here. Like if I do this, it's going to move, and you're on this layer. This means this lights up because you're on this layer. If we're on this layer and we use the move tool, we can actually move this up to be centered in the image, like so.
Okay.
This is selection.
More than one layer again, though. That's what's confusing me.
Well, we have more than one layer right now because this came in as a layer. For some reason, this is a layer. Usually it starts out as a background layer. This is transparent. This is nothing. There's nothing back here.
Okay.
It's just space. It's empty space. Whenever you see that grid, you know it's empty space. And this layer is just a mask. So like, and it's useful because you could, if you wanted to, which is probably more information than you really need. Don't let it confuse you. But where is your regular brush? Everything looks different on this. No. Where's the stupid regular old-fashioned brush? Is it here? That's the eraser. Maybe it's under here. No. It's under here. There it is. Okay. I just want a brush. So I'm inside this layer, and I'm in the mask. This is a mask. Imagine a mask as being like a piece of transparent plastic that you've put over your drawing. And if you color it, see that black mark up here right there? I can actually remove that adjustment layer because we put that adjustment layer on there. And now I've actually erased it from there. So you see, if I do that, that's the original drawing. Do that. But I don't want to erase it. So I will.
Yeah, why not use the eraser, though?
Because I don't want to erase the image.
It would take it totally off. Okay.
I want to just do, you can adjust your mask so that if you want this adjustment that you've added, which happens to be levels, to only affect part of the image, then you can.
Oh, I see.
You can.
Okay.
Yeah, you can delete the other part of the image from it. So I'm going to select all. That was a Control A and delete so that it comes back. And then I Control D, which is the same, which is deselect, which is all under here, all these tools. So like select, deselect, select all. You see these are the hotkeys for it. What, kitty? Crazy cat. All right, so let's crop it. The next thing is cropping. Here is the lasso tool. That's the select tool. This is the magic wand, which selects certain pixels. This is the crop tool, or the letter C. And you just pull in these boundaries like so. Good grief, cat. Can you hear him?
Yes, I did.
What is the problem? You can sit on my lap if you want. So when you set this, and this also, you can see how the cursor changes, how it turns into an L shape there, or a corner. That means I can rotate this. So like if your drawing is crooked, when you crop it, you can also straighten it out.
Okay.
Which is kind of useful. I want this to take the whole drawing though. I don't want to lose any of the drawing. So that means that you can position or compose your drawing nicely on the page without a lot of extra space. And that sometimes will save you. The more space you can more pixels you can dedicate to your actual drawing and not waste it on empty space, the better. Then you can either hit enter or you can hit the check mark. Almost always you'll find a check mark here for these kinds of things. So note that now this is recorded so that you can go back and look at it again, but every time you select a tool, the option bar changes. See how you get different options.
Okay.
Which can be helpful or harmful depending on how you look at it.
Mm-hmm.
So ones that will be important is like this tells you how big your brush is. It's 45 pixels. If I do this, it won't draw on that layer. It has to draw on this layer. For some reason, there's my brush. That's a weird looking brush. Let me go over the brushes. Why is that such a weird looking brush? Why do you have that brush? What did you do?
I was probably practicing on one of the tutorials. I honestly don't know.
Okay. So you can go back in and select one of the general brushes. I would go with the hard round to start. You do have these other options for different things. And anyway, you can see it change up here. You can also change the size up here. So you can make it bigger or smaller that way. Although that's a really chunky, clunky way. Hardness just means the edge of you can make it a really soft edge like that. See how it gets all soft?
Mm-hmm.
Or a really hard edge like that.
Okay.
So that's one thing you can do. This is useless. So I say that so flippantly. The easiest way to change the size of your brushes is to use the bracket keys on your keyboard. So bracket to the right will make it bigger, and a bracket to the left will make it smaller. And that's kind of nice for being able to change it without having to go hunting around in this crap up here. Opacity,
Okay.
these two things you need to look at. If you ever are trying to draw something and, like say, if you hit a number, like I hit 5, that changed the opacity 50%. So I go and draw, and it should be 50% opacity, but it's not doing it. Let me try this 20%. Yeah, see it's getting paler as I go. So sometimes you might do something and you say, oh, God, why is it doing that? The first thing you want to do is check up in here and see if there's some weird thing going on, because some keyboard commands will change things that you don't want them to. This will make your, that's good for the tablet. It's not really good for what we're doing here. So let me undo this stuff.
100%, 50% look the exact same.
Yeah, they do. I don't know why. This is 100 and this is 50. But whatever. It's this is how you can use your history. You can actually, it makes a history of everything that we've done. See everything that we've done to the image.
Okay.
This is the one that we changed from 50 to 20. So you can back it up this way.
Okay.
And go back. We could go all the way up to the beginning. We can still go back down to where we wanted to be. But as soon as you do anything else of that size, you'll lose everything that's below it. So as soon as even if I were to use the eyedropper, and don't make a liar out of me. Try the brush. Okay. Yeah, there. See, it took it away. Everything below it. Apparently, you can even move things around, but I don't mess with that usually. I only need to show you what you need to know to get through the first few classes using this stuff. So a brush you're going to use, an eyedropper you might use to get color, but probably not in this class. This is an eraser. This is a stamp tool which allows you to clone stamp. I'm going to go ahead, if you like it this way, I'm going to go ahead and merge these two so that we don't have 2 layers anymore.
Okay.
You can do that a number of ways. One is right click, and you should be able to merge down. The other is Control E. We'll merge it down. So just to show you how the stamp tool works.
I used that actually on the tutorial. It was really neat.
Yeah, it takes a little picture of something and then you can draw it again over here.
Yeah, that was neat.
That is pretty cool. This is the history brush, which I don't usually use. This is eraser.
Okay.
This is the gradient, and under this is the bucket. So if you ever see a little corner thing, that usually means that there's more tools underneath there. So if you lose your brush tool and you're wondering, like I just did, where was your brush tool? It was under here.
Okay.
Or you can switch those by using the Shift key and the keyboard command for that tool. This is smooth. This is burn and dodge. Dodge makes things lighter. Burn makes things darker. This is the pen tool, which is a vector tool, which we won't go into right now. So don't need to torture you. These two tools go together. This is the vector tool, and this is the tool that adjusts the vector. This is the type tool, obviously. This is a shape tool. Shape tools are kind of fun because you can use a lot of different shapes, not just the rectangle. It's got all these other options. And you can even go as far as the custom shape, which will allow you to select a variety of things to make, like a paw print. Do a paw print. Doink.
Oh, wow.
Now, that's a vector, which means it's a shape. Which, you know the difference between a vector and raster?
I read that in the other class I'm taking.
Okay.
And I remember. I did just read it.
The difference between a vector and a raster is a vector is a mathematical computation of a line. In other words, when you do like a design for a logo or something, you want to do it in vector if you can, because that allows you to print it at any size. You can make it bigger or smaller, and you can also, like, I can change the color of it. Once you draw with something with Photoshop, that's what it is. But with a vector, you can change the color, you can change the stroke. So you have more, it has more options. You can manipulate things better. You can make that line thicker around it. So much so that
I remember now.
Yeah. So that's pretty useful stuff.
Okay.
But you can't draw on it. So once you have, if you want to draw on it, then you have to change it from a vector to a raster. And a raster turns it from mathematical computation to pixels. So I right-click on the shape and rasterize it. Now, whoops, I just hit the wrong key. I have a Mac keyboard. Okay, do it like this. So if I select cancel, no, I want to select this. All right, so I'm going to use the select tool and select the paw. I can actually resize it and things like that with the control, and then you see it gets kind of blurry though, because now it's just made out of pixels. And when you change the pixels, it just moves the data around. Sometimes you lose data, and sometimes but I can also go in, whoops, I hate that tool. Don't like that tool at all. I wanted to use is it this one? No, it's this one. I don't even know where my tools are by hotkeys. It's kind of sad. So I can actually do that. Ta-da! You can smear it, which you can't do with a vector. You can only do that with a raster. All right, let me throw that away. So that's not super important to you right now. What you need to do is be able to size things and set things up so that you can put several pictures in one place on one page, right? So right now it's a PSD, which is a Photoshop specific file. And do you want to plug in your PC?
Yeah, because my cord is not with me.
No, that is so wrong.
Yes.
Okay, let me do this really quick then. You want to flatten the file layer all the way down to the bottom below the edge of your screen. It'll say flatten image. That makes it completely flat so that it's a background. Now we can save it as a JPEG. So we file save as, and then you choose type JPEG. Give it a better name than that. You can call it something else later, whatever it's supposed to be.
Okay.
And then save it. And always save it high, maximum, unless this will tells you what size it is here, 96K. That's very small. If this was showing up at like a couple of megabytes, you might want to pull that to a medium-sized file.
Okay.
Now, it saves it as the proper file. Now, say I wanted to put 3 of these up here. What I'm going to do is take my first drawing and resize the canvas. So you go to Image, Canvas Size, and then add. I'm going to put 3 across like you're supposed to do for the gesture drawings. So times 3, about 600 times 3 is 1,800. So I put 1,800 in there. And you can put this one all the way to the left. And it's going to make the background black. We don't want that really. We want it to be white. So that's something to keep an eye on. And we'll make you can actually click on this and just do white. Say OK. Now it makes your file bigger. So this is when the zooming comes in handy with the zoom tool. Let's see. We can zoom out.
Listen, if my computer shuts off, where is this going to be recorded to?
It's recorded to my cloud thing. So it won't go away. I'll have it. I'll keep recording and continue doing stuff. I'm going to do the demos or the gestures and stuff, or whatever everybody else needs. Okay, so I'm going to pretend that I have to add a new file, but I'm actually just going to use the file that we just made. Now, this is how it should show up if it's saving correctly. You should see an image of your drawing, not this stuff here.
Okay.
So I'm going to open up another one. Oh, I can't. I have to save this as something different. Crap. Say I can't open it for the same name. So I'm going to save this as 3 up. All right. So now I can open this guy here so that we can add this to, it's going to be, say, pretend like it's 7. I did the math wrong, didn't I? I did. I made it too long. But you can use the move tool and just move this over, drag it over on top of this, put it there, and then place it. That's one way to do it. And then you hit Enter, or Enter, Enter, or Control Enter. I think it's Control Enter, or Option Enter. What the frick is it? What? Okay, that's fine. Never mind. You can just place it and then change your tool. Or you can go here and you can select all with a Control A, and that selects the whole thing. And then you Control C, which copies it. And then you go to your new file and you Control V, and that pastes it. And it's pasted it right on top of the other one. So you can turn off those guidelines if you want, but they can kind of come in handy. So there you have your 3 images. Say the 3 different images, and maybe I made it too big. That's all right. You could crop it down to get rid of that edge. Now, of course, you want to flatten it. So we're going to go back to flatten, and you can make a hotkey for this. I'll show you how to do that at some other later point. But, oh, it's layer. Wait, stop. Oh, I'm freaking out because I'm worried your computer's going to die. Layer.
I know.
Flatten.
If I knew what I was doing, I would have brought my cord.
Flatten image, and now it's all one layer, and you can see it's all one layer. So remember, when you're working on Photoshop, you have to make sure that your layer is selected, because right now no layer is selected, so you can't do anything to this. You have to select a layer, and it'll show up as selected. So that's the layer I'm going to work on, or that's the layer I'm going to work on, or that's the layer I'm going to work on. And you can actually just Control E and drop your layers down onto themselves. So they're all one layer for a JPEG. If you save it as layers, it'll save as a PSD. You can't save it as a JPEG except you save it as a copy. Does that make sense? I'm talking really fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hopefully this will, I just did it again. I hit the wrong key on my keyboard, and that gives me all kinds of weird stuff on your computer. Okay, so I'm going to just, if you see an asterisk here, that means that this hasn't been saved yet. Once you save it, the asterisk goes away. When you do these 3 up, you don't have to reduce it down again. as long as it's just 3 of the 800. I think it says to change it down to 800. I don't care if you do or not, just makes it awfully tiny. And that's how that works. I think that's everything you need for the first 2 assignments, except for the gesture drawing.
Okay.
So, hello, Jose. And hello, Joe. Haven't seen you in a while. And Megan, you guys are in the 122 class. So, I think. I'm not sure. What class are you in, Jose?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
How you doing, ma'am?
I'm doing great.
So you're asking what class I'm in?
Yeah.
How do I find out? It's your normal art. I mean,
Is it
observational drawing.
Observational drawings. So you're doing the blind contour and the gestures.